Hi, Italy is world champion, and this is Volleyball Explained podcast. As you can see, or if not, if you listen to this, we are in a little bit of a different composition this time. I'm Bogdan. Ronnie is here, but our uh, traditional for Volleyball Explained podcast, but not this in this composition. Piotrek Sikerski, thank you also, Piotrek, for being here. Thank you, Ronnie, of course, too.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, of course, the topic is self-explanatory. Is the World Championship final? Italy's world champion for fourth time after 24 years, and Poland didn't succeed in winning three in a row, just as Italy before, and of course Brazil. But still, just several. Just for a start, your overall comment on the final. Let's start with Piotr, even though I believe he's a little bit disappointed. You were there. You were there with the national team for a lot of time during the tournament.
Yeah, that's right. So I have spent 3 weeks with the national team, which was a great privilege for me, and great chance to see how the highest professional guys are training. So yeah, of course, me and I believe the whole staff, the players also, they are just disappointed a bit, but after a few nights, few days, I think they will feel better because yeah, the silver medal is also a great achievement, and yes, of course, the we we have expected that we're gonna win this, and I was pretty sure that after those two battles against Brazil and the United States that we're gonna face all our challenges. But yeah, to be honest, yeah, hat off for Italy because they have shown the best quality volleyball in this tournament.
Yeah, and I believe we should also remind that Poland has played in the last four out of the last five finals. So since 2006, Poland has won two golds and two silvers. Ronnie?
Yeah, well, this is a remarkable achievement for such a great nation in volleyball. For me, they have the best facilities, the best TV production, the best fans. Yeah, it was a shame because I also thought that they were gonna win this and pretty easy, but at the end. I think they kind of felt the pressure of being at home, and Italy didn't back down because I expected that because they were young. At some point in the game, they will start to make a lot of mistakes, but that didn't happen. And I saw that one of the key players for Poland didn't have a good game, and you know who it is, Bartosz Kurek, and the answer from the bench didn't was anything special as Kasmarek didn't wasn't the difference to bring that victory to Poland. So yeah, sorry for Semeniuk, Sliwa, who had a tremendous tournament. Biniek also, and well, those guys, Biniek and Semeniuk receive awards. Yeah, it was a shame. It was a historical opportunity to be the first country in the world to have four world championship. But I think that they are young. Some of those players, the opportunity will eventually come again. I don't know if will be in 4 years from now, but yeah, uh, I will, as a Cuban, I would have been pretty much sad if, impartially, if Poland wins because that means that they didn't need Leon at his side that time. But doesn't make me feel happy either to see them lose. But at the end, it only proves that it wasn't Leon's fault. All those times that Polish media tried get the attention to him. Yeah, sorry for the loss, but Italy is back on business again.
Yeah, they turned the clock back, as the English expression is. But before talking more in depth about the final, let's hear first the opinion of the very, very happy Nicola, Italy's world champion, and now Nicola.
Well, guys, 2 days after the final, and I'm still trying to process what happened. I'll let you talk about the game itself and all the stats and things like that. I'll just have some consideration about Italy in general. First of all, wow. The guys have to prove that the goal of the Euro 2021 wasn't a fluke. We all expected a solid tournament, but very few of us thought they could lift the trophy. What's more impressive is how they played during the tournament itself. They didn't look like a young and foolish bunch of players going up and down during a game. They've been consistently throughout the tournament, keeping it at high level every game. They played 25 sets, lost just 4, and in 3 of those they led at least by 1 point. Only the set lost to Cuba in the round of 16, they've never led. That kind of performances have been possible only playing like a team with everyone contributing. Once was Romano, once the wing spikers, once the middle blockers. As Giba pointed out before the final, Italy doesn't have a player that scored 30 points like it was for Zaitsev, for example, in the past. Now they have multiple weapons, and so the distribution is unpredictable. I could speak hours talking about the players, especially the curious case of Romano with more caps in the national team than presence in Superlega, but I just pay my tribute to Giannelli, rightful MVP of the tournament, Balaso, who in the past month undoubtedly has been the best libero in the world, and the Lavia, the unspoken hero, dependable, consistent, and that played like a veteran for basically every game in the tournament. And of course, a major tribute to De Giorgi, who took a team after the disappointing Olympics in Tokyo, and in less than 1 year led it to the European and the World crowns. He bet on a group and trusted them, even when he had to make difficult choices, like excluding Zaitsev at the training camp. He gave his team an identity and the confidence they needed to aim at big results. So thank you, Fefe. We will build you a statue somewhere in our country. One last thing I want to point out is the behavior of the Polish crowd in the final. That was outstanding and unbelievable. They, of course, supported their team during the game, but the respect they tribute to Italy and its anthem at the trophy ceremony was massive, and an example to follow and an inspiration for all the fans of this sport. Well, that's it. We were champs, baby. Back to you guys.
Okay, we are back, and let's start talking about the final a bit more. I will try to explain my position, my opinion, why Italy won, and then you can also add, for example, how, for example, Poland could have been better. But what is the most impressive part for me in Italy winning is they're playing their very young team. Actually, the player, the oldest player is Simone Anzani, and he's 30 years of age. They're playing in a lot of patience, which is not that typical for a young team. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They're playing with a lot of composure. They have very nice percentage on high balls. And what impressed me, especially in the final, is their statistics. Firstly, they have far less errors than Poland, but also their efficiency of attack, especially the 3 main attackers, the 3 outside hitters, Davide Lavia, Michieletto, and Yuri Romano. The latter actually was lost somewhere in Serie A2, And so now for a second year in a row, he's part of the national team. It's interesting that actually Romano has more games in the national team than in Superlega, which is very strange. But all of them have a more than 30% efficiency in attack, which is very, very impressive, and actually is probably the biggest reason for the win. And of course, last but not least, but probably on the top is Simone Giannelli. Simone Giannelli, we all know that he's a great setter, that he's one of the best, but during this championship, and especially in the last two matches, he proved that he's for sure now the best setter in the world. When, for example, Bruno is aging, Christensen knows Christensen, as we know, we don't have any more Tonuti on this level. Brizard is also far from it. So at the time of speaking, at the time of this World Championship and several days after that, Simone Giannelli is the best setter in the world without any doubt. Firstly, I would ask you, what do you think about this? And of course, how Poland could have been better? For example, Wilfredo Leon, could he make Poland better? Because there are different opinions about it. Piotrek?
Me first, right? Okay. Yeah, so about Wilfredo, so I don't think that I'm the right person to talk about it, because Nicola has chosen the proper 14 people. We have reached the World Championship final, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that Wilfredo wasn't able to play on this highest level. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was the reason why he wasn't there. But yeah, the other players has shown, like Tomasz Fornal, that yeah, that they can play on this level, and yeah, they can participate in this kind of competition. So yeah, of course, we expect Wilfredo in the top form in the next tournament, and yeah, we'll be happy to get him back, of course. Yeah, but I think it doesn't mean that yeah, he will receive the place in the roster just like that. Yeah, he needs to fight like the other players, and yeah, you told much about Italy. Of course, they have shown unbelievable level of volleyball in the finals. So I to be honest, I didn't expect that, but yeah, it unfortunately
Me
happened.
neither.
Yeah, but yeah, you told about Giannelli, you told about Romano, Michieletto, and Lavia, of course. But yeah, the hidden hero for me is Fabio Balaso. The balls he defended were actually, yeah, uncountable. So we couldn't get we couldn't, yeah, reach the court, and it was yeah, from the ground perspective, from the perspective nearby the bench, it was like, hey, how the hell is he doing that? Yeah, it was impossible. So he has shown the yeah, great approach, and so the quality, and I mean, I think the main factor was the balance of block and defense. So yeah, it was the reason why we have lost, I would say. So, but again, after words of Nicola, he said something like that we are at the beginning of the road. Yeah, so we have completely new team without the older players like Kubiak, Nowakowski, and the others. So we have completely new team, and our goal is to reach medal in the Olympics in Paris. So yeah, so I think this is a good starting point, very promising, because to be honest, none of the top teams have reached 2 medals in this year, except us. Like we have reached bronze medal in VNL, and after 1 month we got this silver medal, and I think it's very promising for the next years.
Ronnie, what do you think is the reason for the progress of Italy? Because they won virtually everything in the last year in men, women, boys, girls, everything in all age categories except the VNL in men, I believe. They are both European champion, both in both sexes. They are U22, U21, U20, everything.
Well, after 2016 Rio Olympics, the FIPAB, the Italian Federation, saw the opportunity to get back to war with Velasco, no, and but not for the senior levels, but for the age category levels. No, he's a main supervisor. He is working and selecting the best coaches that he can, that the federation can pay, and yeah, I mean, this is not a program of only 1 or 2 years. He has been there since 2016. Now we are 6 years after that move, and we are starting to look up the results. They were, well, Michieletto is champion in all the categories. Also, Jakub Kochanowski. That's an interesting fact. If Poland would have won, also Bartosz Kuolek, who was in that generation of player that dominate. Ne? But yeah, they have a good structure. Even during the pandemic, they didn't stop training, which was something that a few national teams could afford, probably. And this is the result of years of works. So, but by any means, that's the reason why Italy won. I mean, they could have lose versus France, and the speech would have been different at this point. So, I think it was a surprise. Yes, we cannot say that. Oh, I knew that Italy would have won now, because this is a team that lose the two latest matches versus France 3-0. And at the VNL, we saw a team that wasn't anything good like this World Championship. I will have to see if next year and in Paris Olympic they could repeat this result. And of course, if we're talking about young categories, you cannot say that Poland hasn't been nothing, because they won last year U19 World Championship, and of course you don't have Russia in the conversation. So I think it has been a good year for Italy overall in every aspect. But let's count down. They are world champion, and also where was Poland 4 years ago, and nobody have them like favorites. And yeah, this volleyball, unfortunately, no, these days you have 5 or 6 countries that can win, relatively speaking, tournaments. You have Poland, Brazil, France, the Italy now. Russia is banned, but who cares? And yeah, the competition is pretty even at this moment. I didn't thought Italy was capable of, but they did it. So now you have to be more careful with them. I have more patience. They are not unbeatable, as many people has been saying. Now they were the best team, but far from that. I think it will be a lesson for everyone. And from now on, Italy is back on business again. So yeah. And I want to see Romano playing in the Piacenza, because I think he's more like a national team player than professional one. So, but for Italy concerns, this is good.
Yeah, they've got it from nowhere. I don't know, but yeah, it's a very strange situation with a player not that not that popular before that. But let's share some words also about the bronze medalists, Brazil, because I believe Brazil is an interesting case. They have some aging players, superstars like Bruno,
Lucas,
like Lucas, of course.
Wallace,
Wallace also, who retired but is back from the beach for the tournament and wasn't
and
this
retire
his
again. And
yeah,
retire again.
and retire again. They had injured for the most time Lucarelli. Probably with Lucarelli, they could have won the semifinal. I don't know. And they have some players who are coming from the bench, but they are not that impressive, I believe, like Rodriguinho, like Adriano. They are not on the level of Semenuk or Slivka or Michieletto or Lavia, for sure. I don't know. What is the future of Brazil?
Now, for me, sorry, I will start and then Piotr can continue this idea. For me, Brazil have pretty much a big problem after Paris because I'm pretty sure that Bruno, Lucas, Wallace is over now. Leal, those four guys will go. Maybe Isaac. Isaac is not with the team right now, but they didn't lose because they didn't have a middle blocker. No, they lose because at some point there is only a dude that can score points, and was Leal because Wallace was done in this game. And the thing that pissed me off is that the Brazilian fans and media are saying that because of Lucarelli got injury in the fourth set, they didn't won. I mean, Poland should have won this game for me in 4 sets, easy, because they were dominating in serve, defense, not so much at blocking, but in counterattacks, everything. But what happened? They show a little shaky in reception sometimes and give the opportunity to Brazil to come back. That shouldn't have been the case, but because they get access to the tie break, now the Brazilians thought that they could win the game, and who knows, the World Championship. But the reality of this Brazil is that they are almost done. I mean, like you mentioned, Adriano is not right there soon. Rodriguinho is a player who has 26 years old, knee surgery, and he had some problems with some illegal substance in the past. I don't know the details, but yeah, he hasn't been so let's see great career, So they had Douglas Sousa, who was okay in the previous World Championship, but now decide to finish his national team career and some personal issues. My point is, after Leal departures and those guys, who is gonna be the high ball spiker of Brazil? You don't have any. So it will be pretty damn awesome if Brazil get the chance to play after that, after those departures, a tournament semi-final at this level again. So I don't know if they plan to nationalize Lopez or any other Cuban, because I think this is a fashion these days, have a Cuban in your team, but who knows what the future is. I'm not talking about Poland, because this was Polish people are very proud of their players, and they didn't need Leon in the first part. But if you can count with him, why not? But the Brazilians need more Leal than Poland needed Leon. So for me, they are done, and I want to see them in the right place that they belong, which is 5, 6, 7 place in the world ranking. Competing, but not for titles anymore. Yeah.
And they're also not impressive in the young categories. For example, in U21 last year, in U20,
Argentina beat them.
Yeah.
Argentina beat
Yeah.
the U21 team in some friendlies this last month. Sorry.
So they're not that impressive. So Piotrek, do you have anything to add in this about Brazil?
Well, actually, before the tournament, many people said already that the myth of the giant Brazilians, yeah, is gone. So they are done, and yeah, they don't win anything. But to be honest, they were few balls in the final. You know, it was a tiebreak, and yeah, but yeah, I will agree with Ronnie that after Paris, you're gonna have some roster problems because they don't have as many players as Poland, for example, at this highest level to compete against, yeah, for example, Italy or France. So it's gonna be tough for them, but yeah, maybe some new talents will join to Brazilian league. I don't know. I don't know the details, many details about young Brazilian players, so I'm not gonna comment it. But yeah, the current rosters showed that yeah, on the bench they don't have enough quality to compete at the highest level. So yeah, after Leal's departure, they're gonna have a problem. Yeah, so this is this is something that I will agree with Ronnie.
Okay, and because of the fact that in the last podcast we talked about surprises, so I believe as a finish of this episode of the podcast and overall impressions about the championship, let's talk a little bit about teams that could go up the rank in the next years. Probably Cuba, I don't know, Turkey impressed also. I don't know if what happened with Ukraine is more a fluke, but than something for the future. But okay, let's start with Piotrek then. A team that surprised you and probably will go up in the years to come.
Yeah, that's
Because we have some teams that we are predicting to be down with, for example, like Brazil. Probably not, they will not face each other, but still,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I think that Turkey has shown the quality and that there's a place in the volleyball map that we can invest our money on. Cuban, of course, will always be dangerous because they are all the whole team is tall, they are strong, they jump high. So I think there's a potential in that team, and yeah, we're gonna see how the next tournament will go for them. Uh, what about Ukraine? Yeah, Ukraine also has shown pretty nice skilled volleyball, but I think the problem with Ukraine is that they are dependent on the one player, yeah, Plotnitsky. So they need,
Like the Netherlands too.
yes,
Also.
sure. So I think they need a bit more players with the quality, and they can be dangerous, of course. So we had a friendly game before the World Championship, and we have played the 5 sets. We have won 3-2, but still, yeah, everybody has expected that, yeah, it will be an easy game for us, but it wasn't. Of course, it was before the championship, but still. So I think these three teams uh, are very exciting, and they can show some how can I say dirty pose in the future. So yeah, actually in my mind I don't have any other teams. So yeah, let's go. Let's roll up to Ronnie.
My question is to Piotr, why you didn't mention Japan, for example? I know they are short, they are not the typically, standard for a volleyball player. But I
Mhm.
mean, they put in serious problems France, for example. Nishida is only 22, I believe. Of course, you have to count if Ishikawa will be there. Is 26, sorry.
Mhm.
But they were impressed. Of course, there are still some details in that Japan national team. They need to play at 110% the entire game to be able to beat a tallest and technical team like maybe Italy. They beaten at the VNL this year 3-2, and of course France. They beat us easily. Cuba is starting to back now to the first order of competition. We won the Challenger Cup. Next year we'll be playing at the VNL with the other big teams. And it's a team that needs a lot of work because you can not only win scoring aces and jumping high. You need to use your head, which is a thing that Cubans usually don't use too well. We only base our game in spike hard, and that's it. Uh, we give a pretty damn battle versus Brazil in the first day. Then the third and fourth set were nothing. Like they were better than us, and that was the real difference between Cuba and Brazil. Then Cuba tried using their strengths again in service to win the match, but wasn't enough. And with Italy also, we had it in the third set, and we lose 26-24. I'm not saying that we can beat those teams next year. It will take some time. I think 2, 3, 4 years maybe to be at the same level. I mean, we can win a game, but not enough to win tournaments. And of course, Ukraine for me was more like a country pride reason, because they are suffering the war, and they felt the like the obligation to play better than they usually or normally do. Uh, mm, you mentioned Piotr, you mentioned Plodinski, of course, but also the opposite Tuchel and Semeniuk, the middle blocker, who normally doesn't show up, but this time for Ukraine they did it, and they won a set versus Slovenia. But for me, that's not a team that you can see in the next year performing well. I will bet more, like Piotr mentioned, Turkey, because they have like four guys, oxide hitters that alongside Laguncia, that can be the difference in the years to come. Of course, they need to be healthy because they didn't have Efrem Mandirachi, who is a wonder kid in Turkey. He injured his knee, and didn't also have Efe Bayram, who will gonna play in Verona, I think. Verona, no, Cisterna,
No,
sorry.
no, it's not Verona.
In Cisterna, sorry, and yeah, and they have also the Addis Lagunsija brother, Mirza Lagunsija, who is another young talent. Those three, four things, I mean, three because I don't count Ukraine, can be in the next year high in the rankings. Others, not so much, like Serbia, like Argentina. Those teams are. Let's keep the. Okay, sorry, I overstepped.
No. I meant Bulgaria also. That's why I do it. But of course, we have a talented generation. U20, whatever U20 now. But yeah, we lack some positions. So for now, I'm not sure we can develop that well. But still, my guesses are also Cuba. If Cuba improves tactical decision making and working in terms of tactics. And of course, if Cuba finds a better setter, because the setters of Cuba are just not on the level of World Championship and at this level, I believe. Secondly, Turkey, as you mentioned, also because I believe I mentioned in the previous podcast that Turkey is working very, very professionally, and the results are already here. And my third guess, of course, is Japan. I'm not that acquainted how the youth generations are developing in Japan, but they have a pretty young and talented squad, so they can develop for sure better and have a even better place in the.
I will.
At least, for example, in top 8 next time. For
I
example,
will only want to add one thing. I don't know if is any interest in Poland to move Wilfredo Leon to position 2, because I think with the aging of Kurek and the uncertain level that Kaczmarek can bring sometimes,
or
also
Muzai.
or Butrin, I mean,
Yeah.
you need to keep your high ball player at the best rate possible. And I think the Poland problem wasn't the oxide hitter this time, and it's a shame because I think Sliwa and Semeniuk have better passing skills than Wilfredo. You need to take one of them to put Wilfredo in system. So I don't know if there is the chance to move Wilfredo to position 2 and he keep the high ball in a good spot. I mean, he have a pretty good serve, for me better than Kurek, and but this is a thing after Kurek retires, or maybe he can start training that in I believe it's Spala, right? The national team center.
Yes.
That's an idea. Maybe Gerbig thought on that. Maybe he proposed Wilfredo that, but who knows? What's gonna be?
I don't think it's gonna happen, to be honest.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kieran.
Yeah. I mean, I just answering to Ronnie. I think that Wilfredo will stay as an outside hitter, and I think we currently got planned till Paris, and after Paris, we're gonna talk again probably about the rooster. But I think the closer for me is to play with the 3 outside hitters. Like Fornal, I don't know, Semeniuk Leon or Slivka. Yeah, we got plenty of players. Maybe not plenty, sorry. We got around 5-6 players on the top level. They can be in the rooster, the main rooster. So I think we can't forget that Kaczmarek is double Champions League winner. So I think he just needs some times on the court, and and that's it. So we still got the Butrin and the Muzai in the back. So I think we don't need to move Wilfredo to position 2, but so we got a coach, so he's gonna decide.
Okay, so I believe we can wrap it up here. Thank you again for your contribution. We will see each other very, very, very soon. Of course, thank you again to all the listeners and spectators for watching or listening to us again. It was a real pleasure to have this analysis about the World Championship, and of course, follow Volley Time in Facebook, follow Cuban Spike, follow Volleyball Explained. Thank you again, and bye bye until the next time.
Right.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.